You are sitting in the back seat of a car. It is moving. You do not remember it starting. Outside the window, the streetlights blur past like something trying to warn you. The road ahead is dark in the way that roads only get dark at 3 in the morning, when the city is finally given up pretending it is safe. You look at your phone. No signal. You look at the driver. He has not spoken in 4 minutes. His hands are on the wheel. His eyes are in the mirror. Not on the road. On you. Still. Unblinking. The way eyes look when they are not seeing the same world you are. You notice something else then. Something you should have noticed the moment you got in. The seat in front of you is not worn the way a cab seat gets worn after years of strangers. It is pristine, clean in a way that does not feel clean. And there is something faint in the air of this car, not perfume, not sweat, not air freshener, but the specific stillness of a room that has been sealed for a very long time. You accepted this ride 40 minutes ago. You do not remember the last 20. Maya had been running on 4 hours of sleep for 11 days straight. She worked the overnight shift at a content review center in the garment district, the kind of job that nobody at dinner parties asks about twice. She sat in a fluorescent lit room from 10 at night until 6 in the morning, watching things that the rest of the internet was not supposed to see. It was necessary work. It was exhausting work. It was the kind of work that left a particular weight behind your eyes that ordinary sleep could not fully lift. She was 27. She had a small apartment in Ridgewood, a cat named Biscuit, and a habit of listening to true crime podcasts on the way home, because, as she once told her coworker, Dana, it was easier to think about other people's fear than her own. Dana had laughed at that. Maya had not. On the night of October 14th, Maya left the office at 2:58 in the morning. The lobby security guard, a quiet man named Harold, watched her badge out and wave goodnight the way he did every single night. She walked through the revolving door, stepped onto the sidewalk, and opened the rideshare app on her phone. The city was the quietest she had ever heard it. She pulled her jacket a little tighter. Autumn had arrived all at once that year, the way it sometimes did in New York. Not gradually, but like a door slamming shut on summer. The trees in the small park across the street had turned overnight, and their dry leaves scattered across the pavement in small, spiraling eddies. She did not notice the man sitting on the bench near the building entrance. She would think about that later. She would think about it for a long time. The app matched her with a driver named Raymond Cole, 4.9 stars, white sedan. Estimated arrival, 3 minutes. She had gotten him before. Twice in the past week, actually. She remembered thinking it was a coincidence. Same late hour, same route, same quiet man who never made small talk. He had kind eyes. Tired, but kind. He always had the radio off. The car arrived in exactly 3 minutes. She got in, said hello. Raymond nodded in the mirror and pulled out without a word. Everything felt normal. The route on her phone showed the standard path, up through Maspeth, over the bridge, down to Ridgewood. 22 minutes. She had done it so many times she could map it with her eyes closed. She closed her eyes. When she opened them, they were somewhere else. Not dramatically elsewhere. Not in another city, not in the middle of nowhere, just not on the route. The streets outside were narrower, older looking, industrial, the kind of block that exists in every outer borough neighborhood, the ones that do not appear in real estate listings or restaurant guides, the ones that have been quietly left behind. She checked the app. The GPS arrow was frozen, had been frozen, she realized, for some time. "Raymond," she said, "I think we are off route." He glanced in the mirror. His eyes were calm, not dismissive, not threatening, just calm in a way that felt slightly off, the way someone is calm when they already know how a story ends. "The usual route is closed tonight," he said. "I know a faster way." She had heard that before. She had accepted that before, from him, on one of the previous rides. She remembered it clearly now. She had not thought to question it then. She looked at the street sign as they passed it. Holloway Avenue. She had never heard of Holloway Avenue. She opened her messages and typed Dana's name. "Hey, in the cab, not on normal route. Driver taking back road." She hit send. The message did not deliver. She tried again. The spinning wheel turned and turned and turned. She switched to her call log and pressed Dana's number. 3 rings, then a click. "Maya, hey, are you still at the office?" She felt a cold drop move through her chest. "Dana," she said carefully, "I left 20 minutes ago. I am in my cab right now." A pause on the other end. Then Dana's voice, slower this time. "That is not possible. I have been standing outside the building waiting for you for the past 15 minutes. Harold said your badge never swiped out tonight. Maya, where are you?" The call cut. Not dropped, cut, like something had reached into the signal and closed a hand around it. She looked up at Raymond. He was watching her in the mirror, waiting. She forced herself to breathe. She told herself there was an explanation. Badge malfunction. Dana was confused. The GPS lag was just a dead zone. She opened her offline maps, searched for Holloway Avenue in Queens. No results. She widened the search. All of New York. No results. She searched the rideshare app's trip history. The ride was there. Raymond Cole. Pickup confirmed. But beside his name, where there should have been a car icon and a live location, there was only a small gray dot. And beneath his name, in text so small she had to lean in to read it, last active, October 14th, previous year. She read it 3 times. She looked at the dates on her phone. October 14th. Raymond was quiet. He had turned off the main road now and was moving the car through what appeared to be a storage facility. Long chain-link fences, hulking shadows of machinery, not a single other vehicle in sight. The headlights carved a narrow tunnel ahead of them, and everything beyond it was an absolute wall of dark. She tried the door handle. It opened. She felt the night air rush in, but the car did not slow down. "I would not do that," Raymond said. "Not at this speed." His voice was not threatening. It was something much harder to process than threatening. It was exhausted. It was the voice of a man who had said the same words many times before and found no satisfaction in being right. She pulled the door closed. She made herself look at him. Really look. Raymond Cole was a man in his mid-50s, broad shoulders, close-cut gray hair, a blue windbreaker with a small patch on the left shoulder. the kind of jacket that a man wears for years because it fits and he sees no reason to replace it. His hands on the wheel were steady. There were no rings on his fingers. And then she noticed what she had not let herself notice before. His reflection in the rearview mirror did not move the same way he did. Not by much, a half-second lag, the way a recording plays a fraction behind the live feed, small enough to dismiss, large enough to make the back of your brain go very, very still. She pressed herself into the corner of the back seat and spoke. "Who are you?" Raymond was quiet for a moment. The car slowed slightly, as if his foot had eased on the accelerator without his full awareness. Then he said, "I am someone who did not make it home." 1 year ago, on this exact night, he had been driving the late shift, a back route off the expressway, the same way he always went after midnight. A truck had come out of a side road without its lights on. Raymond's car had gone into the guardrail. He had not lost his life immediately. He had been conscious for some time, waiting beside the road, watching the cars that passed without stopping. By the time anyone stopped, he said, it was already too late for me to go anywhere they could follow. Maya's throat was tight. She could hear her own pulse. "But what am I doing here?" she said. "I did not know you. I am not connected to what happened to you." He looked at her in the mirror for a long time. Then he said, "You took my ride the night it happened. You were my last passenger. You were supposed to be my last drop-off. And when the app still shows my name, which it does sometimes, when the system glitches, when it reaches back and finds old data, sometimes a passenger accepts, and I find myself here again, trying to finish what I started, trying to get someone home safe." There are places in certain traditions that are considered thresholds, crossroads, river bridges, the hour between 3 and 4 in the morning, which folklore across a dozen cultures has called the witching hour, the time when the boundary between what remains and what has moved on is at its thinnest. Paranormal researchers who study residual hauntings, events that replay themselves like a looped recording, tied not to a conscious presence, but to the emotional intensity of a moment, describe this phenomenon as a psychic imprint, something so charged with unresolved feeling that it cannot stop replaying. Raymond was not haunting Maya. He was haunting the route. She understood this the moment she stopped trying to escape it and started paying attention to where they were going. She looked at the streets. She recognized nothing, and then she recognized everything, not from having been there before, but from the shape of it, the way the streets curved, the way the block opened up. They were close to Ridgewood. They were almost exactly where she needed to be. "Raymond," she said quietly, "do you know where we are?" He looked at the mirror, and for the first time, something in his face shifted. "My last drop-off was on Cypress," he said, "near the cemetery." "That is 3 blocks from my building," she said. Neither of them spoke. The car turned onto Cypress Avenue. The city returned around them, a bodega still open, its lights spilling out onto the sidewalk, a bus shelter, 2 people walking a dog, the ordinary evidence of a world still running. The car stopped in front of a dark residential building. Maya sat still for a moment, her hand on the door handle. The metal was cold. "Raymond," she said, "is this the address?" He looked at the number above the door. "Yes," he said, "this is where I was taking you." She opened the door. Her feet touched the pavement. The night air was ordinary and cold and real. She turned back. The car was there. Raymond was there, his hands still on the wheel, his eyes still in the mirror, not looking at her, looking at something she could not see, something somewhere else entirely, in the direction of the road he had never finished driving. She walked inside. After the horror, what remains? Maya stood in her apartment for a long time before she turned on a light. She sat on the edge of her bed and thought about what it means to be unable to let something go, not because you are selfish, not because you are frightening, but because the moment you were taken from the world still had something in it that was supposed to happen. A kindness, an ordinary act, getting someone home safe. There is a theory in the study of residual hauntings that suggests the most common driver of a repeating event is not violence, not anger, not tragedy even. It is incompletion, the errand not finished, the door not closed, the passenger not delivered. Some things do not stop because stopping would mean admitting they were interrupted. Dana called the next morning. The badge system had malfunctioned the night before, she said. A server issue. Half the swipes had not registered. She laughed about it, said she had stood outside like an idiot for 20 minutes. Maya laughed too. She did not open the rideshare app for a week. When she finally did, she searched for Raymond Cole's driver profile. It was not there. Not deactivated, not removed, simply not there, as if the system had quietly closed something it had accidentally left open. She thought about the route he had taken, the way it ended exactly where it was always supposed to end. Maybe that was enough. Maybe for Raymond Cole, getting one last passenger home safely was the only thing left to finish. And maybe, that night he finally did. After the horror, we begin where the story should have ended.